I have now played 200 whole days of Stardew Valley, and honestly I think these last 50 days have made more progress than the last 150 combined. As always, I had a few goals for this video, those being to reach 100 golden walnuts, obtain a warp obelisk to the island, and to move entirely over to wine production for my main source of income. If this is the first video of mine you've seen, the playlist is linked in the description so you can catch up on the previous 150 days. Enough intro though, let's move right into the game. Here we are, day 151, and it's time for the annual potluck. I wasn't prepared for this at all, but somehow the cheese I've been carrying in my pocket for the last year made the best soup the governor's ever tasted. I'll take it. Day 152 was a big day on Ginger Island. The crops I'd prepared were all fully grown, which means I can do all 3 frog quests at once. This provides 15 walnuts in total, making it the single most profitable quest on the island for golden walnuts. With the newfound walnuts, I decided to build the island mailbox. I also completed the island survey before heading back to town and opening some coconuts. Fun fact, this is one of my favorite hats and we'll be wearing it for the rest of the video. We're back on the island day 153, planting some radishes to start getting some walnuts from island crops. The only reason I chose radishes was because I still needed to ship one for the collection and the seeds are pretty cheap. I spent the rest of the day collecting some fossils, specifically the snake skull and spine. The blueberries are ready day 154 and I'm actually a little sad these are still our main source of income. Yeah, they're serviceable for now, but we need so much more money if we ever want to get things like obelisks or the golden clock tower. Hopefully by next year we've moved on to something better. Anyhow, today we went and finished the East Island puzzle. I hope you're ready for a long-winded, detailed breakdown of the math involved, because that's exactly what's about to happen. Hey guys, I'm currently editing this video and my explanation of the math was horribly incorrect. To sum it up, thanks to this formula right here, once you've found 2 of the gem birds, you'll only have to go through 6 combinations at most to brute force the remaining 2 pedestals and solve the puzzle. Sorry about the mistake, now back to the video. After all that, I built the island resort and made a few crystallariums before bed. I need more ruby to trade for spicy eel. I went to the volcano dungeon day 155. I was looking for more walnuts. I ended up spending 10 in total on the entrance bridge and on the exit hole in floor 5. I made another volcano run day 156. Unfortunately, it just takes a long time to go through, and there are a lot of walnuts that need to be found there. Good news is I'm building a good supply of cinder shards at the same time. The first radishes were done day 157, and I didn't get a single walnut from them. I may have to wait until I set up a proper farm here to get the crop walnuts. I did manage to get a walnut from the dirt in the Pirate Cove, but unfortunately I'll have to wait till tomorrow to get the rest from there. Speaking of, I spent all of day 158 waiting on the island for the pirates to show up. While I was waiting, I decided to check how many walnuts we've collected so far, and right now we have 79. Only 21 left before we can track our perfection progress. Once the pirates eventually turned up, I absolutely crushed all 3 dart challenges, using exactly 8 darts every time. Day 159 was short. I just picked up more radishes for the island and restocked on mega bombs. At this point, I'm only going for radishes because they grow quickly, and I'm dying to get to 100 golden walnuts. I died in the volcano dungeon day 160. I got distracted for a bit and wasn't watching my health. Thankfully, it looks like not much of value was lost, so I went right back in for more, but ended up having to leave halfway through because it was getting late. I finally took the time to gather the walnuts to the left of the dungeon before heading home for the night with 87 total walnuts. Another volcano run day 161, and I found no less than 5 dragon's teeth, as well as a couple golden walnuts. The best thing I found though was the dragon scale boots, one of the most defensive items in the game. I also quickly donated the bat fossil to the professor, meaning the only fossil left to complete is the large animal fossil. On day 163, I crafted 11 iridium sprinklers and went straight to the island. I spent all day preparing a massive farm. I hadn't even cleared the space for it yet. It was after dark by the time all the starfruit was planted. I quickly unlocked the island trader and got a banana sapling before heading home. I finally hit 100 walnuts on day 164. It turns out I had missed a few walnuts buried near the volcano, and walnut 100 came from a muscle rock. Now we can finally access the walnut room and say hi to Mr. Key. And now that we have this room, we have access to key gems and the high-end items purchased with them. The big attraction today, though, is the perfection tracker. As it turns out, we're only 24% of the way there, which means we need to get a move on. I also decided to take on the Danger in the Deep quest, which rewards a massive 50 key gems when completed. I couldn't worry about the quest yet though, because on day 165 I was preparing space for a new shed that would house all our kegs. Starfruit takes about 2 weeks to grow, which means if we want to start making starfruit wine, there's not much time left to prepare. Unfortunately, we can't afford a shed yet, so I went to the desert trader to get some spicy eel before calling it an early night. Day 166, the blueberries were ready, giving me enough money to start on the wine shed. I had enough resources by the end of the day to craft 32 kegs, but we're gonna want a lot more by the time the starfruit is ready. There was nothing to be done on day 167, so day 168 I decided to finally take on the Danger in the Deep quest. I took all my staircases and bombs and headed down into the mines. The extra dangerous mines are actually really interesting, and as far as I'm aware, they're the only way to obtain radioactive ore. Unfortunately, I passed out at 2 AM on floor 115, just 5 floors short of completing the challenge. And with that, summer has come to an end. I'm not making any wine yet, so unfortunately it looks like we may need just one more season of cranberry harvests. Thankfully, the farm was still prepped and ready for the blueberries, so it was an easy enough job planting all the cranberry seeds. Mark my words though, this will be the last farm I plant here. As soon as fall ends, all farming will be done on the island. Before I went to bed, I decided to start smelting down some of the radioactive ore I obtained from the dangerous mines. Day 170 was mostly uneventful, but that's because I needed to wait for the Adventurers Guild to open. While I was in the mine for Key's challenge, I finished the Rock Crab Monster Slayer quest, which gives me access to the Crab Shell Ring. This ring is my second favorite in the game, beaten out only by the Burglar Ring. The Crab Shell Ring provides 5 extra defense points, and with the boots already giving me 7 defense, I'm about as maxed out on armor as you can get. On day 171, the shed was finished, and I had some extra money, so I bought some copper from Clint to craft even more kegs. I filled the shed with all the kegs I had, and while I'm now technically ready for wine production, more kegs is always better. Day 172 is a busy one, starting with crafting many more kegs. There's hardly room for all of them in the shed at this point. That's alright though, the shed can be upgraded in the future. For now though, there's another upgrade I'm interested in, so I handed in my axe to Clint so he could upgrade it to gold for me. I spent the rest of the day on Ginger Island, and finally completed the last fossil for the professor. Before ending the day, I made more ancient fruit seeds and laid them down. I'm finally starting to see a bit of expansion, and from here the ancient fruit farm will only grow exponentially. I returned to the island the next day to combine the crab shell ring with another iridium band. I forgot the cinder shards, but no worries, I just had to go through the dungeon on the way up to collect more. 2 iridium bands, one combined with the burglar ring and the other with the crab shell ring, is my favorite combination, and this will be our endgame loadout. Day 174, I crafted the last of the kegs I'll have by the time we harvest the starfruit. Now there's not nearly enough space in the shed, and we can't quite afford the upgrade. Thankfully my axe was done today though, so I can clear some land and collect more wood. I'm constantly running out with all the keg crafting. There wasn't much to do on day 175, but on day 176 the cranberries were ready, which means I can finally afford to upgrade the shed. Those starfruit are almost ready for harvest, and now we'll have the space to fit all the kegs in one place. Speaking of the starfruit, they were ready for harvest day 177. I spent a good amount of time harvesting the entire field, and decided to sell half of them outright so I could afford more seeds to replant. There was still enough starfruit left over for 2 batches of wine. Thankfully, there was enough time left in the day to replant the entire field. The large shed was done day 178, and I laid out all my kegs, 67 in total, before starting the first batch of wine. It's a good amount to start, but I'd like to be producing several hundred bottles at once. I don't know if that goal is even possible, but there's plenty of time to expand before reaching perfection. Day 179 was a day for smaller errands. I harvested cranberries, made more ancient fruit seeds, and smelted down iron ore. I'm still after more kegs, and any iron and copper I get for some time will likely go directly into expanding the wine shed. Day 180 was similarly uneventful, so on day 181 I bought all the animals I hadn't gotten yet. Every animal produces its own items that need to be shipped to complete the collection, with the exception of sheep. Since I already get wool from my rabbits, I can skip over that one. Speaking of the rabbits, I'm gonna need a second coop here soon. My plan is to gift people iridium quality rabbit's feet as birthday presents, because iridium quality loved gifts can provide over 3 hearts of friendship on a birthday. In order to obtain that many rabbit's feet, I'm gonna need way more rabbits than can fit into the one coop I have now. It's been a while since we've been to the Skull Cavern, so on day 182 I spent all day searching for iridium. I died the first time around and lost so many items that I immediately reset the day. Call it cheating if you want, but I consider it a nice safety net if something goes horribly wrong. Thankfully, I survived the second attempt, and came back with over 100 iridium ore as well as a couple more prismatic shards. I got incredibly lucky on day 183. I took all 4 of my prismatic shards up to the forge to start enchanting my tools, and got 3 of the enchantments I was looking for. More specifically, I got efficient on my axe, powerful on my pick, and bottomless on the watering can, only needing to re-enchant once. Given that this is my preferred loadout for all 3 tools, it wasn't bad for only needing 4 prismatic shards. I had entirely forgot about the Stardew Valley Fair, so on day 184 I came up with a last-minute set of items for my display before heading into town. My display somehow still won first prize, and I quickly gambled the winnings into enough tokens to obtain both the Rare Crow and the Star Drop. Unfortunately, I forgot to clean out my display before leaving, so I'm gonna have to head to the Lost and Found tomorrow to get it back. Before going to bed, I collected the first batch of wine that had just finished, and made just over 240,000 gold in one night. I showed up bright and early at Lewis's house for my items on day 185, and luckily one of the items on my display was truffle oil, so I was able to hand that right back to him to finish a quest. I spent the rest of the day smelting more gold. I need way more crystallariums. I'm not gonna have enough rabbit's feet to gift everyone twice a week, so I need to make enough diamonds to keep up with the demand for friendship. It was Marnie's birthday on day 186, and if I don't start giving gifts soon, I'm never gonna hit perfection, so I brought her an iridium quality rabbit's foot. The friendship boost from birthday gifts is insane. Just a couple of these could max a friendship bar. I just need to keep it from going back down. I decided to do a trial run for diamond gifting, but could hardly find anyone. It was at this point I realized keeping up with gifts for every single NPC is gonna be torture, and I need a plan if I'm gonna make this work. In the meantime though, Marty wants a cave carrot, and I just so happen to have a few on me. Pam also wants a battery pack, which I also have, so after a short cutscene with Marnie, I head up to the bus to find Pam, and somehow she's not there. I decide to use the battery pack in the bus tunnel, and finally found Pam on Ginger Island. Maybe this is the place to do most of my gifting. It seems like a lot of the NPCs make frequent trips here. On day 188, I commissioned a second coop. I need rabbits fast if I'm already giving birthday gifts. I can dip into gold quality if need be, but if I can keep gifting iridium quality items, that's a lot more friendship. I didn't have much more to do today, so I went and watched a train pass by. This is by far the most useless event in the game, but I may as well see it once. I slept through day 189, so on day 190 I harvested the starfruit that just finished growing. At this point in time, I have enough money to buy the next round of seeds, so all these new starfruit can be set aside for even more wine. By the time I finished planting the third round of starfruit, it was already getting late, so I went home to go to bed. The wine was ready yet again day 191, and after refilling the kegs for the next batch, I took all my Omni Geodes to Clint. It's been a while since I've donated any new minerals to the museum, so I opened as many geodes as my inventory could handle. Unfortunately, I only got a few new minerals to donate. I'm not sure how I'm gonna get the rest, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. Day 192 is George's birthday, so I took him a rabbit's foot. It's a little crazy how much a birthday gift increases friendship, but I'm not gonna complain. The only other thing of note I did today was upgrade our new coop. It needs to be a deluxe coop to house rabbits. I went back to the island day 193, and the banana tree is finally producing. We're also finally producing more than just a couple ancient seeds every harvest, which means soon we'll be changing from star fruit to ancient fruit for wine. It's less profitable in the long run, but not having to replant every time is well worth the small dip in profits. Ancient fruit also produces every week, as opposed to star fruit producing every 2 weeks. For now though, we're still going to need 1 or 2 more rounds of star fruit. All I did day 194 was commission the deluxe coop, so moving right along to day 195, I managed to entirely screw up the crystallariums while collecting jade. At this point I have enough rubies, so I just filled everything I had with diamonds. I'll make a few more crystallariums soon to keep the jade going. I waited around the rest of the day to go to the Halloween festival, where we got the gold pumpkin and bought the rare crow. Day 196 I made the new crystallariums for the jade. For now 15 in total will have to do. Crystallariums are rather expensive. I also managed to find a couple kegs that hadn't been added to the wine shed yet, so I set them up for the next round. Winter started day 197, and it also just so happens to be Krobus's birthday. I went to take him a gift and ran into him having a bit of a conflict with the dwarf. Thankfully, the wizard showed up and stopped the fight. Apparently there's some history between them here that I'm not aware of. Anyhow, I gifted Krobus before heading over to Robin and buying loads of wood for kegs. I managed to craft 25 more and line them up in the shed. I also made a few more seed makers to put on the island, as I'm producing too much ancient fruit now to process one at a time. The wine finished late into the day, so I started the next batch, putting all the new kegs to use. I did something a little different day 198. One of the requirements for perfection is to craft every item, and I haven't even started on it. I spent all day on the farm crafting whatever items I had the requirements for. I crafted about 30 items and even got a new achievement for it. It's not nearly enough for perfection, but it's a start. Day 199 was shorter than I'd like. The only thing I did today was gift Linus for his birthday, although he made it very clear he wasn't in the business of making friends. I hope I can change that attitude before too long. I need to be good friends with everyone for perfection. Day 200 ended with one last expansion of the ancient fruit farm. We started these last 50 days with 1 plant, and we're up to 21 currently in the ground. The growth only gets faster, so by the next 50 days it's likely we'll have replaced the star fruit completely. Before finishing the day, it's only appropriate to take another look at the perfection tracker. As it turns out, we're only at 27%. Honestly, I was hoping for more. It looks like we gotta pick up the pace, or else this is gonna take like 1,000 days. Before headed off, I decided to grab Key's Hungry Challenge. Not sure if I'm actually gonna take that one on, but I could certainly use the key gems. For now though, I go back home to head to sleep, ready to pick this back up on day 201. Thank you guys so much for your continued interest in the series. These videos are a lot of work to produce, but all the positive feedback makes it entirely worth it. If you've not caught up on the rest of the series yet, the full playlist is linked in the end card. And if you're as excited as I am to see how the next one goes, go ahead and hit subscribe so you don't miss it. Once again, thank you all so much. I'll see you again at day 250.